So today is a snowy day, which makes it a good day to talk about the snowblower. So let's head into the barn and take a look at what we've got. Now, the snowblower I have is actually the Ariens Deluxe 28. I bought it at the beginning of December in 2017, which is actually not the best time to buy a snowblower because most dealers have sold most of their inventory by December, but that was when we're moving into a house where we actually need to clear our own snow, so that's when I got it. So having a few years of experience with it now, I can comment on how it performs. So let's take a look at it. So here it is, the Ariens Deluxe 28. So 28 means the width on the front here is 28 inches. This machine has the chute, which is controlled by that crank right there in terms of rotation angle. And then the lever here on this side adjusts the angle on it. These handles, this one here engages the front end, the auger, and then the other handle engages the drive wheels, and they actually lock together, so you only have to hold one down, which frees up, in this case, your right hand you can use to adjust the chute angle or adjust the deflection angle while you're going. When you look at the front, Ariens makes these rugged. You've got a cast iron gearbox there for the augers, a large diameter impeller behind that. The housing has some areas that are double thick, which is actually good because if you take a rock or anything in there, it's going to beat the housing up. In fact, if you look inside the chute, you'll see where it gets peppered with any sort of debris or anything that gets picked up. This particular model from Ariens has nice knobby tires here. It's got the headlight. This is a halogen light. I think the newer ones have an LED. It has 6 forward speeds here that you can select and then 2 reverse speeds. The reverse speeds are both pretty slow and don't really seem all that different from each other, but it does have powered reverse. Now this machine also has the auto turn feature, which I like most of the time, but it can get frustrating sometimes. So it's great in terms of maneuverability. You can pivot the machine around just pretty easily. If I tip this up, notice this pivots, differential in there. Auto turn enables that. Older snowblowers from Ariens had the axle locked so that both wheels were driving all the time. And so that makes it hard to maneuver the machine around. Now, when you're driving with this, it does lock them together until you either snag something on the front or you apply some directional force at the handlebars, and then all of a sudden one side will drive and one side will spin free. And so where that gets frustrating is a little uneven ground and you snag something up at that skid shoe on the front. Sometimes the snowblower wants to turn. If you're working on even ground, it's less of an issue. Now this is just the plain Deluxe 28 and it's got the 254cc engine. There's also a Deluxe 28 Show, and that has a more powerful engine but is otherwise the same machine. In hindsight, I would have rather had that for a little bit more power. This machine works fantastic in fluffy snow up to 6 inches deep or so. You can take pretty much the full width across the front and move it, and it doesn't bog down. You get into snow that's a foot deep or snow that's heavy and wet or going into the plow bank, this engine will bog down and seems wanting a little bit for power. Now, most of the time it's not an issue. We get a lot of the 3 to 6 inch snowfalls, but in the bigger storms you do have to take less in the front and you do have to go slower. A little more power would have been nice. Well, we're talking about power. One of the trade-offs is with size of machine is also weight. I really like having the 28-inch front end here compared to most of the older snowblowers were all 24. I grew up with the Ariens 824, which was an 8 horsepower with a 24-inch width.
24 inches wide is very common. I do appreciate the extra 4 inches here in terms of the speed of clearing the snow. I also appreciate that this one is not substantially heavier, whereas if you step up with the width on the front in particular, the machines get heavier, and when they get heavier, they're harder to maneuver. So this one, I usually don't use reverse. It's not that heavy. I usually just drag it and pull it back and manipulate it around. You get into the bigger machines, bigger engines, they start to get too heavy for that, and then you're stuck shifting between forward and reverse to move around and maneuver the thing. And so for me, the trade-off of having something lighter that's manageable is worth it compared to having something that's much bigger and maybe going to clear the snow a little bit faster. Having had experience growing up with Ariens snowblowers through my lifetime, the chute on this one is a big improvement. It's got a lot more of a vertical rise coming out of the impeller housing down here before it hooks over. So the models from, say, 2000 vintage, kind of the chute leans over more and earlier. And then the older models, the chute was only about that high, so you didn't get the throw that this does. And so the more the snow comes up out of that vertical straight before you push it over, seems to be very, very effective. And this snow throws the snow pretty much as well to the right as it does to the left, which is great given the rotation of that impeller is to the right. So I really like the improvements that they have made to the chute.
Snow's wrapping up, so let's get this thing fired up and get this driveway cleared.
To start, turn the key on. We're gonna go full choke. We're gonna make sure that there's some throttle up. Then we're gonna hit this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that should go on one pull.
That's it. The driveway's cleared. Snowblower performed great.